monotonous, and the eye goes, okay, this is the same, and it gets dull. So you want to push and pull the reader's eye by going, so here, kind of far shot, medium shot, close up, medium shot. Here, you might, we'll talk about this in a second, how you want to adjust that, and then this one should be much bigger here. So anyway, so that's what I would do there, is push that in, zoom in, so that's bigger. Here, it's fine. If this becomes a close-up, this becomes a medium shot, that is cool. She's good. The only thing about it is if, what, as I've been mentioning, dead space, this is all dead space. Now, maybe there's word balloons that are going to go in there. I don't know. But you could still make her bigger, make the figure larger, use that space up, kind of bring in the computer, zoom in a little bit on this, and you still have plenty of room here if you wanted to do a word balloon and a caption, a thought balloon, something like that, and there's not as much dead space behind you. So something to think about. Oh, also reference, keyboards don't look like that. Look at a keyboard, right? Make sure you're looking at real things. It can be flat, but typically most kind of have a slight angle. The keys are more close together. There's going to be some variance. There may be it doesn't have to be a chord. There may be a chord to it. So just reference that. Okay. Down here, we've shifted around. It's good. Where you're going from this view to behind her, to the side, to behind, that's good. I like that. She's obviously frustrated with what's going on. Even though you've tried to zoom back out. And again, if this is slightly bigger and this is a real big zoom in, you could even go, I would go really big here, really zoom in here. Then this is fine as small as you're pulling back. Shadow, keep consistent with your shading on the floor because there's still light source. We've already established that. There's shadows here. If you're going to do this and this is in the foreground now, then this should be much bigger. And by making this much bigger like that, we know it's the same plant as here. That helps establish where we are in space. And you notice we've also got some overlapping here. Nothing other than her and the desk overlap, but then nothing else overlaps to create that sense of depth. So putting this bigger in the foreground helps to establish, here's where we are, this is the middle ground, and then that's the background. Shading, again, shadow. This is going to have some shadow. Even windows, the casing has some shadow, and you can do your highlights or your reflection there. Otherwise, that's fine. That's fine. You could, this desk could have a little bit of, could be in perspective a little bit, right? We know that there's an area that you sit under the desk. Again, by doing something like that, it sort of pushes it back and again creates some more depth. Anytime you have the opportunity to create that illusion of depth in a page is good, because obviously comics and drawing like this is as a two-dimensional view, and you want a three-dimensional view. All right, last one here. I think I kind of mentioned ahead, I would do this much bigger. Now, she doesn't have to be a ton bigger because you're trying to force this perspective. But by doing that, this hand needs to be way bigger. Right? And the reason I say that is we've already established here that she's typing at a regular keyboard. So, you know, my regular keyboard, my keys are not much bigger than the, you know, the end, the tip of my finger. Whereas this is like old 1960, you know, crazy evil genius science lab buttons. Like, this is huge. So again, as I mentioned, referencing the keyboard, drawing a real keyboard, you know, the keys, this, heck, just using a straight edge, making sure the keys all line up is going to be important. And then that's going to help you keep them into perspective as well. But just look at a keyboard. We all know what it is. So when it's not right, it's something that looks weird to us. We recognize it right away. Okay. And then there's one more. All right. We've got like a barbarian story going on here. Small thing. Here you've drawn enough for me to go, okay, that's a horse. It has a mane, that's a horse. Here, just the way this is drawn with the face is longer and the ears, kind of looks like a donkey. But I know it's a horse, so just be careful. Even in a little shadow thing like this, still make sure that you're either being consistent or that you're using your reference to make sure that it looks right. So if those are horses, if these are the same horses, make them look like the same horses. I like the kind of stylized mountains in the back. That's cool. Excuse me. You got the birds flying around. The birds are all very close to the same size, which doesn't really lend that any are in the front or back. So maybe, and they're all kind of equally, almost equidistant apart. So I don't know, maybe a little more, you know, like if this one was way bigger, maybe put another one there, make this one bigger. I don't know, just something to sort of vary it up a little bit. They feel very uniform. Here they're coming down the hill. It's icy and snowy. That is okay. Again, this is one where I would say, so you've written and put in the dialogue. So I know there's not supposed to be any dialogue here. So why have them this small, right? And again, you don't have to do a big zoom in, but if this guy was, and this horse was, say, this big, now he's closer to us. We've got more action going on. This guy's further away. You've got the tree. Do the tree more. See more tree. Because it's an interesting element and it brings some balance. And then I don't need this. I don't need that much panel to show me what's going on. Right? So again, zoom in, use your space. If these are the same guys as these, which I can't tell, I guess they are, then maybe, right, they've gotten off their horses. There needs to be some horses back here somewhere. Even, you know, just something like this. So we know it's them. This guy's really shadowed, which obviously I know you're doing for, you know, like a cool effect, which is fine. But if that guy's super shadowed, then parts of this guy are super shadowed because they're in the same place. So if that guy's going to be super shadowed, then this guy needs a lot of kind of heavy shadow. The light is coming. So this guy, it says the light is coming here like this. So it's coming this way. So this guy needs... And certainly... And then here is something that is kind of weird. I get that they're walking through the snow. So I grew up in an area where it snows a lot, where you had lots and lots of snow. So I know it can be different depths, but I can't tell it. The way I read this is that this is it'd be his left leg and then that's his right leg. So this one should be lower than this one, is the way that I read that. Like, that should sort of end here, and that should end there. Because this leg is closer than that leg. Now, if I've read it wrong, I think the reason is because you usually juxtapose the arms and legs. Which means when you're moving, if this arm is bent, then your left leg is bent. His left arm is straight. His right leg is straight. By having it be the opposite, if this is if his left leg is straight and his left arm is straight, it doesn't fit. So it's tricking my eye, and that's what I would do is make this there and that there. But then I don't know what plane he is on. So if his head, he looks bigger. Maybe he's not. It looks like he's supposed to be closer to me. So if he's supposed to be closer to me, he needs to be slightly lower on the page. And certainly lower than this guy. And then that helps bring him forward to what I'm looking at. Or just in general, he could be larger. Now again, you've got the word balloon here. I would have no problem with this figure being this big if he's supposed to be closer and this guy here. Right now they look like they're on the same level. One is not in front of the other. I want to see like this. So this one's bigger, this one's smaller. Right now they look like this. They're both on the same level. Okay. Reference the trees, the pine trees. Again, I grew up in an area where there's a lot of pine trees and snow in northern US. The snow on top of the trees sort of can be in unregular patterns because some of it slides off, some of it doesn't. This looks, the way that you've drawn it, it's not a tree. You've drawn a symbol for a tree as opposed to drawing a specific tree. Works fine when you get back into the background. You get some that are closer. Just go on the internet and Google pine tree in snow, and you'll get some real imagery there. Here is okay. Somebody, I guess this guy's not expecting that guy's there, so he turns. He's like, what? This guy in the front, the line work, I want to see him pop out more. I like where he's overlapped the other guy, but if you had some thicker line work, that would help him pop forward a little bit. You could also do it by, again, working more on that heavy shadow. So if this guy is a little more shaded, especially then you shadow out like his leg and that kind of stuff, that's going to help put him behind You got this big old beard. That thing's going to cast a shadow. So that's going to help him be behind him. And then the last one is just a face. The frosty breath. The line work is fine. The shading, so the light, I guess, is coming this way, because you've got a shadow here, not here. It's under his eyes. I know it's for dramatic effect, which is fine. But if you're going to do that, then you have to be consistent. Again, this beard, that neck vein, these are going to have some big shadows if the light is here, right? The light is on the front of his nose, is hitting the front of his nose. So this, and this is going to go back to like here, right? You can have like what they call, it'd be like what they call rim lighting, so that it doesn't go all the way back to this back line of his head. But you're going to want way more severe shading on this side, is what you've established with the light source. This should be bigger here. I would do that. If it's a shadow, it doesn't care whether it's on his eyelid or not. Oh, and then the hair up here. So the light affects everything, not just the cool stuff like eyes or that. So you got to keep it consistent. So there you go. There are some of my thoughts about the work that I looked at for Pedro. I hope that this is helpful. There are a number of good things that you've been doing here. The best thing that you can do is that you're drawing, which is awesome. So keep it up, keep practicing, keep working, draw every day, use your reference, get some books on perspective will help you out a lot. You've got some really interesting ideas. You clearly have a passion for it. So keep working that passion into what you're drawing, and you're going to do great. Thanks, and take care, and good luck.